Yo, what is up, guys? Delboy here. Hope you guys are doing well. So, as we know, last night news broke that Dillian Whyte tested positive for a banned substances prior to his fight with Oscar Rivas. I believe he tested positive on the 17th of July, a few days before his fight with Oscar Rivas, and it's emerged that the British Boxing Board of Control knew about this. The promoter Matchroom and Eddie Hearn knew about this, and also Team White knew about this whole situation. They knew he tested positive for two metabolites of the anabolic steroid Dianabol. Now, you guys know my thoughts on drug testing and punishments. For me, if punishments and testing standards aren't universal, there's no point. There really is no point in this whole drug testing thing. And this goes to show another example of that. How on earth can you test positive for a steroid and still be cleared to fight by the powers that be? Now, I believe it's UCAD rules where if your A sample tests positive, you have a right to appeal and get the B sample tested. And in that process, you are still eligible to fight because ultimately it's an ongoing situation. You know, an appeal's been put in, the B sample's being tested, and you're still free to fight. And Dillian Whyte was still free to fight against Oscar Rivas despite himself testing positive for banned substances. Now, this looks bad for everybody involved, particularly the British Boxing Board of Control and Matchroom and Eddie Hearn. The British Boxing Board of Control in particular have a lot at stake. Ultimately, if you go back to the 90s, there were a few tragedies that almost bankrupted the British Boxing Board of Control, and they got through that just about. Imagine if something happened to Oscar Rivas. Let's say this guy got seriously hurt, like Maxim Dadashev on the weekend. Let's say this guy got seriously hurt. Imagine the scenario. Imagine that. You know? I mean, Eddie Hearn himself, the guy's an absolute hypocrite. You know, he roasts drug cheats like Jarrell Miller and people like that. He insinuates that guys like Manny Pacquiao are on PEDs. But all along, you know, he's covering for these guys like Dillian Whyte. In fact, when he accused or when he insinuated Manny Pacquiao was on PEDs, Eddie Hearn already knew about Dillian Whyte's positive test. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. And people take this guy's word as gospel. If you believe the Daily Mail, they are reporting that Eddie Hearn tried to get injunctions out on this news story, that he tried to stop it getting out into the public. So if he's willing to do that with Dillian Whyte, the question I will ask is, has he done that with any other fighter? And are there fighters out there who have failed drug tests that we don't know about? Because, again, from all of these reports, it's being indicated that Team Rivas did not know about the fact that Dillian Whyte tested positive for a banned substance. So there you go. You know, you've got guys like Eddie Hearn preaching fighter safety and, you know, clean boxing programs and drug testing and all of this. Bruv, all of these guys are full of it. Full of absolute nonsense. Again, I go back to my original point, the point I've held for quite some time. Until the standards and procedures of drug testing are universal across the board, done by one agency, one body, it's ultimately pointless, as far as I'm concerned. This is just one big mess, and it's not looking good for Dillian Whyte, Eddie Hearn, and the British Boxing Board of Control. It really isn't looking good right now. There are some serious questions that need to be asked of all parties involved. Hopefully in the coming days, more information will surface and we can get a clearer idea of what is going on. But, like I said earlier, not a good look. Not a good look at all. And by the way, I believe Dillian Whyte could face an 8-year ban in the UK because of this. He's already tested positive once, back in 2012, and this is his second offence. I believe the second offence in the UK is an 8-year ban, we'll see what happens. But share your thoughts below. Peace.